Welcome back to the deep dive. If you're a returning listener, you know the drill. We take a stack of sources, articles, lectures, academic notes, and we try to find the signal in the noise.
Right.
We aren't just summarizing, we're looking for those specific nuggets of insight that shift your perspective, even if it's just by a degree or two.
And it is good to be back. And today, we are continuing a very, very specific journey we started last week.
That is right. This is week 2 of our coverage on the S1.E2 lecture series, inspired by the teachings of Dr. Haider Riza. Now, if you tuned in for the last session, you know we established some ground rules.
We did.
We are exploring Quranic concepts, but, and this is important, we are looking at them through a distinct lens, specifically the Shia school of thought.
Which means we're going to be diving into some, let's say, heavy metaphysical waters.
Yeah.
And as always, we are treating all prophets and religious figures mentioned with the utmost reverence and respect.
Absolutely.
That is the baseline for this entire discussion.
It has to be. Absolutely. And before we even dip a toe into the content, we have to pay our dues. We want to express our deep gratitude to Dr. Haider Riza. I mean, we are talking about a scholar with over 40 years of research in Quranic understanding and Islamic mysticism.
It's an incredible body of work.
The map we are using today was drawn by him.
Yeah. It's rare to find that combination of, theological depth and mystical insight all in one place.
Oh.
It really is.
Precisely. And because we are dealing with such dense material, I have to read our mandatory disclaimer. I'm going to read this verbatim, so just bear with me for a second here.
Go for it.
The summary and explanations presented here are generated with the assistance of AI for lecture recap purposes. If any content is misunderstood, misinterpreted, or inaccurately conveyed, Dr. Haider Riza bears no responsibility for such inaccuracies.
A necessary housekeeping item. We are doing our best to synthesize, but, the source is the source.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today is to analyze the opening verses of Surah Al-Alaq.
The very first revelation.
The very first. But here is the hook, and it's a big one. The sources suggest that reading the very first command isn't just about literacy. It isn't just about, sounding out words on a page.
No, not at all.
It's about reading the universe. It's about reading the self.
That is the fundamental shift we need to make right at the start. I mean, when we hear the word read, we think of a library or a Kindle or a textbook.
Right. My bookshelf.
Exactly. But Dr. Riza is arguing that reading in this context is the act of decoding reality itself. It is looking at existence and actually understanding what it says.
That sounds incredible, but also, I have to admit, a little abstract. Decoding reality. What does that actually look like on a Tuesday afternoon?
Well, think about a scientist.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way in. When a biologist looks at a cell under a microscope, are they just looking at goo?
No, of course not.
No, they are reading the DNA. They are decoding information. When an astronomer points a telescope at a star, they are reading the light spectrum to figure out what that star is made of.
So the universe is a book.
The universe is a book, and we are being commanded from the very first moment to read it.
I like that. So we are all readers, whether we realize it or not. But in this deep dive, we are going to tackle 3 specific pillars of this concept. First, the destination. Where does this reading take us? And that's this concept of karamat.
Mm-hmm.
Second, the source. What is true knowledge, or ilm?
As opposed to just information.
Right, a crucial distinction. And third, the tool, this very mysterious concept of the pen, or al-qalam.
And these aren't just, separate buckets of ideas. They are a sequence, a progression. You use the tool to get the source to reach the destination.
A perfect summary. Okay, let's rewind to week 1 for just a second to set the stage. We talked about the tools we have as humans, sound hearing PS sight, and fuad, the heart or mind.
Our sensors, basically.
Right, these are the sensors we use to read this book of the universe.
Yeah, you can't read the book if you can't see the pages or process the information.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
But the lecture flagged a major danger zone here. And Dr. Riza points out that if you engage in this reading, if you study science, sociology, nature, whatever, but you do it without a rub, without a connection to the guide or the Lord.
Without context.
Without the ultimate context, you end up in a very specific state called tugyan.
Tugyan is such a powerful Arabic term. It translates to exceeding the bounds or overflowing, like a river breaking its banks.
Wow.
But in a character context, it means arrogance, it means tyranny, is when you get too big for your boots.
So let me get this straight. You can be the smartest person in the room. You can be a Nobel Prize winner, a tech billionaire, and still be in a state of tugyin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, Dr. Riza argues that intelligence without a spiritual tether is the fastest possible route to tugyin.
How so?
Because look at what happens. You figure out how the atom works. You figure out how to manipulate genes. You figure out how to manipulate the stock market. You start to feel like
A god.
a god.
Oh.
You feel like you are the master. It's the master of the universe complex.
I've seen that a few times.
We all have. You disconnect the data from its source. You start thinking, I discovered this. I own this truth. And that arrogance, it blinds you. You have all the data, but you've completely lost the plot.
So if tugyin is the wrong destination, the destination of arrogance, what is the right destination? Where is this reading supposed to take us?
Well, the lecture points us directly to the verse. Read, and your Lord is the most generous. The Arabic word used there is al-akram.
Al-Kakram.
It means the possessor of supreme dignity or nobility. It's a superlative. It's the highest form. And the logic Dr. Riza presents is beautiful in its simplicity.
Okay.
He asks, if the creator is Akram, and he is the one inviting you to read, then what is the goal of the reader?
To become like the author, to reflect that quality.
Precisely. The destination of education, the whole point of reading the universe, is to achieve karamat. It is to become dignified, to become Akram yourself.
Okay, I have to pause here because dignity is one of those words we throw around in English, and it usually just means, I don't know, wearing a suit or being polite at a dinner party.
Right, it's very surface level.
But I get the sense that karamat is something much, much heavier than that.
It is much heavier. Karamat is defined in the lecture as rising above lowliness, or pasti is the word used. It's high-mindedness.
Hmm?
It is the ability to transcend your base instincts, your petty reactions, and your ego.
Okay, rising above lowliness.
Yeah.
The lecture gave a really specific example of lowliness, and I have to be honest, when I read this part of the notes, I felt called out. I think a lot of people will.
I know exactly which one you mean. It's the South Asian relative example, right?
That's the one.
Though, to be fair, Dr. Riza mentions it in the context of Pakistani culture, but this is a universal human glitch. This is everywhere.
Oh, totally universal. The scenario is someone comes to you with good news. A relative says, my son just got into the top medical school, or I just got a massive promotion.
Simple, happy news.
And the low response, the response lacking karma, is physically painful to watch. It's that immediate inability to just praise.
It's the pivot, the immediate pivot. Oh, medical school, that's great, but you know the burnout rate is terrible. Or a promotion. That's nice. Well, my son actually started his own company last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do we do that? It's such a petty, ugly thing, but it's so common.
Because it comes from a place of scarcity. It comes from the ego feeling threatened. It's this broken logic that says, if you go up, I must be going down.
Yeah.
That is pasti. That is the definition of lowliness.
It's like we're playing a zero-sum game in our heads that doesn't even exist.
Exactly. And Dr. Riza's point here is just devastating. He says, you can be a scholar. You can pray 5 times a day. You can fast every year. You can have a PhD in theology.
You can have all the external markers.
All of them. But if your cousin gets good news and your stomach knots up with jealousy, or the first thing out of your mouth is a way to one-up them, you haven't reached the destination.
Wow.
You don't have karamat. You're just going through the motions.
That is a tough metric. It's a really high bar. It means all the book learning in the world doesn't matter one bit if your character is still stuck in that mud.
Your character is the proof of the reading. If the reading doesn't change the character, the reading was flawed. You missed the point.
So that's the low example. The lecture also gives us a high example, a benchmark for what karamat actually looks like in the wild. And it points to the imams, specifically Imam Hussein and Imam Bakir, peace be upon them.
And these stories are incredible because they show dignity under extreme fire. There is a specific anecdote about Imam Bakir.
Okay, set the scene for us.
So a man approaches the imam, and this isn't a friendly conversation. The man is hostile. He's looking for a fight, and he lifts the imam in the eye and insults his mother.
Whoa. Okay, let's just pause there. In almost any culture, in any era, insulting someone's mother is the nuclear option. That is, by definition, fighting words.
Absolutely. It's a biological trigger. Your adrenaline is supposed to spike. Your fight or flight kicks in.
Yeah.
The ego just screams, defend your honor, crush him.
Right. And honestly, if the imam had punched him, most people today would say, well, the guy deserved it.
True. Most people would. But that is the reaction of the bashar, the biological human animal. It's not the reaction of the insan, the dignified human being.
So what did you do?
Look at what the imam does. He doesn't yell. He doesn't get flustered. His heart rate probably didn't even go up. He just looks at the man and says, if what you are saying about her is true, may Allah forgive her. And if what you are saying is a lie, may Allah forgive you.
I have to play devil's advocate here. I really do.
Please.
To a modern ear, that almost sounds passive. It sounds like being a doormat. Someone spits in your face and you say, God bless you. Isn't there a place for righteous anger? Doesn't dignity require defending yourself?
But that is the crucial question, isn't it?
Hmm.
But let's flip the perspective. Who is actually in control in that interaction?
Mm.
The man who's shouting is losing his mind. He is a slave to his anger. He is reacting, the imam. He is completely sovereign over his own state. He refuses to let this man's bad behavior dictate his internal world.
So it's not weakness, it's immunity.
It's absolute strength. It's the ultimate power move. It's saying, you cannot drag me down to your level. My peace is not up for negotiation.
And what was the result?
The story says the aggressor was silenced. He was just struck dumb. He had no comeback. Because how do you fight against a prayer? What's your next move?
You can't. It neutralizes the toxicity instantly. It just dissolves the whole confrontation.
That is Karamat. It is possessing such a high level of existence that the petty insults and provocations of the world just pass through you like smoke. You don't react. You act based on your own principles, always.
Okay, so we have the destination. We want to be that person, unshakable, dignified, akram. But how do we get there? I can't just decide to be unshakable. It feels like we need a different kind of fuel.
It does. And this brings us to section 2, the source. How do we fuel this dignity? The verse says, Alamal insana malam yalam. He taught man what he knew not.
The key word there is taught, alama.
Yes. And Dr. Riza points out that linguistically, alama isn't just a casual he mentioned or he told. It implies teaching with intensity, thoroughly, excellently. It's a deep transformative transfer of something.
And this leads to a distinction that I think is the most mind-bending part of this entire lecture.
I agree.
The difference between information and knowledge.
Malumat versus ilm.
We usually think these are synonyms. If I know the capital of France is Paris, I have knowledge. If I know the theory of relativity, I have knowledge. But Dr. Riza says, no.
Not even close.
Well, just information.
He argues that a person can be a library. You can memorize the Encyclopedia Britannica. You can have a hard drive in your head that is just full of facts. But you can still be completely lost. You can still lack ilm.
He used a really haunting test to prove this point. The old age test.
Oh man, this one really sticks with you. Think about where information lives. Where do you store the capital of France?
In my brain. In the neurons.
Right. It lives in the biological synapses of the brain. It's hardware dependent.
And what happens to hardware?
Exactly. What happens to hardware? It degrades. We get old. We get dementia. We get Alzheimer's. A stroke can wipe out a specific language center in an instant.
So the data is vulnerable.
Dr. Riza asks this chilling question. If your knowledge can be erased by a blood clot or by the natural process of aging, was it ever really yours? Or was it just data stored on a faulty drive?
That is terrifying. The idea that you could spend 40 years studying physics and one day the lights go out in that part of the brain and it's just gone.
If it was just Molamet, yes.
Yeah.
It's gone. It was just data on a hard drive, and the hard drive crashed. And here's the hope. True ilm is different.
Okay, how so? Where is that stored?
True ilm isn't stored in the neurons. It is absorbed into the wujud, the very existence, or the soul of the person.
So it bypasses the hardware.
It bypasses the hardware and writes directly to the user. It becomes part of your spiritual DNA.
So even if the brain fails?
The ilm remains, because the soul remains. Dr. Riza argues that true knowledge is that which stays with you even after death. It's part of who you are, not just what you remember.
I love that concept, that we are writing to the soul rather than just stuffing the brain. But how do we get that kind of knowledge? If I can't get it just by reading more books, where does it come from?
To explain this, the lecture takes us to a very famous historical encounter, a really pivotal story, the meeting between Unwan al-Basri and Imam Jafar as-Sadiq, peace be upon him.
And Unwan al-Basri was an old man, right? Like, really old.
Yes, 94 years old.
Yeah.
And he had spent his entire life studying, going from scholar to scholar. He was the ultimate seeker.
Yeah.
And he finally gets an audience with the imam. And he basically says, teach me, give me the real knowledge.
He's asking for the secret sauce.
He is. And the imam's response just flips the entire academic model on its head.
What does he say?
He tells him, knowledge is not found by extensive learning or study, Talon.
Yeah.
Rather, it is a light, Nur, that Allah casts into the heart of whom he wants to guide.
Okay, knowledge is not found by studying. If I'm a student listening to this, I'm thinking, great, I can skip my finals. The imam said so.
I knew you'd go there. But no, that's not the point. The imam isn't saying don't study. He isn't championing ignorance.
So what is the nuance then?
The nuance is about the source of the breakthrough moment. You can study the mechanics of a car engine for years. Pistons, valves, combustion. That's talam. That's study.
That's the information gathering.
That's the information gathering.
Yeah.
But the moment of marifat, the moment of realization where you truly get it, where you understand the reality of the car, that is a spark. That is a flash of light.
It's the difference between memorizing a poem and feeling the poem.
Yes. Or the difference between knowing the chemical formula for water and actually feeling the relief of a cool drink on a hot day.
Yeah.
One is data, the other is an experience of reality. That light is a gift from the divine. You can't force it. You can't demand it.
Okay, so if it's a gift and I can't demand it, how do I put myself in a position to receive it? Do I just sit in a dark room and hope for the best?
No. The Imam gives Unwan the key, the practical step. He says, if you want knowledge, seek the reality of servitude, kubudiyat, in yourself.
Servitude. That's not a popular word these days. It sounds very passive.
It does, but in this context, it means alignment. It means acting in accordance with the truth that you already have. The formula is simple and profound. Act on what you know, and God will teach you what you don't know.
Act on what you know.
It's an iterative process. You know that lying is wrong.
Okay.
Stop lying. Commit to truth, no matter how hard. That action polishes the heart. It clears the mirror.
And when the mirror is clear?
The light can reflect in it. But if the mirror of your heart is caked in the mud of bad character, the light can't get in.
That makes learning a moral act, not just an intellectual one. So if I'm a genius physicist, but I'm a terrible, arrogant person, I'm actively blocking the light. I might get the data, but I won't get the ilm.
Exactly. You get the malamat, but you miss the transformation. You become a library, not a dignified human.
So we have the destination, dignity. We have the source, light, true knowledge. Now let's talk about the tool. Section 3 focuses on a very mysterious phrase in the surah. He taught by the pen, alama bil kalam.
This is where we get into the sci-fi portion of the lecture.
I'm ready for it.
Dr. Riza poses the question, what is this pen? When God says he taught by the pen, is he talking about a quill, a reed pen, a ballpoint?
I'm assuming it's not a big pen.
No, probably not. And here, Dr. Riza uses a thoroughly modern analogy to bridge the gap for us. He asks us to look at how we store information today.
Okay. We use silicon, we use magnetic drives, we use lasers.
Right. Think about a DVD. I know, ancient tech now, but bear with me. Or think about a fiber optic cable. How do we transfer entire libraries of information in a split second?
With light.
A laser beam writes data onto a disk. It etches information. A beam of light carries the entire internet under the ocean. Dr. Riza argues, if humans with our limited intellect can create a pen made of light, the laser, to store vast amounts of information, what is God's pen?
That's a powerful reframing. It takes it out of the ancient world and makes it immediate.
It does. God's pen is the cosmic mechanism by which he writes reality into existence. The universe itself is the book.
Okay, let's slow down on this. The universe is the book.
Look at it. Look at your own body. What is DNA?
It's code. It's genetic code.
It's literally a four-letter alphabet A, C, T, G, arranged in sequences that are billions of letters long. It is writing.
Who wrote it?
The pen of creation wrote it. Every cell, every leaf, every orbit of every planet is a sentence, a word, a letter in this cosmic book.
So when the Qur'an says read, it's saying, look at the code. Look at my work.
Exactly. Read my writing. And this is where the supposed conflict between science and religion just dissolves completely, vanishes. Because what is a scientist doing?
They are reading the code.
A physicist is a reader. A biologist is a reader. They're looking at the handwriting of the creator and trying to decipher the grammar. Oh, this is how gravity works. Oh, this is how the cell divides. They're finding the ayat, the signs that are embedded in the text of the universe.
This leads perfectly into section 4 because there is a massive elephant in the room here, and it actually came from a listener question in the source material itself.
The atheist-scientist paradox.
Right. The listener asked, and it's a great question. Okay, you're telling me knowledge is light from God. You're telling me it requires servitude and piety. So why are the people making all the discoveries, the cures for cancer, the smartphones, the rockets to Mars, why are they mostly Western, secular, and often atheist scientists?
It's a very valid critique. If piety is the key to knowledge, why aren't the most pious people winning the Nobel Prizes in physics?
Exactly. Why is the secular world seemingly the one holding the pen?
Dr. Riza offers a really nuanced rebuttal here. First, he challenges the premise itself. He reminds us that the atheist scientist is a very recent archetype, maybe the last 70 or 100 years, tops.
He lists some heavy hitters who don't fit that mold at all.
Newton, Leibniz, Maxwell, Faraday, Pascal. These weren't just culturally religious people. Newton wrote entire treatises on the Temple of Solomon and biblical prophecy. He was obsessed with theology.
So for them, science and faith weren't in conflict.
They were two sides of the same coin. They viewed their science as an act of worship. They believed they were decoding the mind of God.
Okay, fair point. History is full of believer scientists. But what about today? What about a scientist who explicitly rejects God but still discovers a fundamental truth about a black hole? How does that happen?
Dr. Riza falls back on the concept of adol, or divine justice. He says God is not biased. He doesn't hide the physical laws of the universe from you. That's because you don't pray 5 times a day.
So the laws of physics are open source. Anyone can access them.
In a way, yes. The principle is jud striving, or effort. If you put in the effort to understand the cell, if you spend 30 years in a lab, God grants you the understanding of the cell. It's the law of cause and effect. You knock on the door of nature, and nature opens.
So hard work pays off, regardless of your theology.
In the physical realm, yes, but, and this is the critical but, Dr. Riza distinguishes between that kind of discovery and ilmi laduni.
Ilmi laduni, that's divinely infused knowledge.
Yes, and to explain the difference, he uses the dark room analogy.
Yeah.
And I want us to really visualize this because it explains the limitations of secular science so perfectly.
Okay, walk us through it.
Imagine you are in a large room. It is pitch black. You cannot see your hand in front of your face. But the room is full of furniture.
Okay, I'm in the dark.
Now, your job is to map the room. What do? You start walking very slowly. Bam! You hit your shin on something hard and wooden.
Ouch. Yeah.
You feel it with your hands. It has 4 legs. It is a flat surface. You deduce, okay, this is a table. You keep moving. You trip over something soft. You feel it. This must be a sofa. You move along the wall, counting your steps to measure the distance.
It's slow. It's painful. It's a lot of trial and error.
That is the scientific method. It is groping in the dark. It is observation, deduction, testing, bumping into things. And eventually you can create a perfect map of the room. You can know where everything is. You can navigate it perfectly without bumping into anything.
So the scientist knows the room, they've mapped it.
Yes, but here's what they don't know. They don't know the color of the furniture. They don't know who put the furniture there. And, most importantly, they don't know why the room exists in the first place. What is its purpose?
They have the how and the what, but they have no access to the why or the who.
Exactly. Now compare that to ilm-i laduni, the knowledge of the prophets and the imams. That is like someone walking into the room and flipping the light switch.
Click.
The room is flooded with daylight. You see the table instantly. You don't have to grope. You don't have to do. You just see. And you see the context. Oh, this is a dining room. It's meant for eating. The host put this here for a banquet. You get the what, the how, the who, and the why, all in a single flash.
That is a massive difference. One is derived from the bottom up, painstakingly. The other is revealed from the top down, instantly.
Now, Dr. Riz's argument is that we need both. But we must understand that science, by itself, is still operating in the dark. It can map the mechanics brilliantly, but it cannot reveal the purpose. For purpose, you need the light.
This brings us to the final leg of our journey today, Section 5, the personal journey. Because all of this, the universe, the pen, the light, it all has to land somewhere. It has to land on us individually.
This is where the lecture shifts to the concept of individual perfection. Dr. Riza emphasizes that every single human being has a unique destination, a unique potential.
We aren't mass-produced on an assembly line.
No. And he actually critiques our parenting and educational systems here pretty sharply. We are constantly comparing, why aren't you a doctor like your brother? Why aren't you as outgoing as your cousin?
Oh, yeah. Why can't you be more like X? It's the standard parental playbook.
Dr. Riza says this is spiritually destructive. It kills the karma of the individual. God didn't create you to be a carbon copy of your cousin. He created you to be you, to reflect his names and attributes in your own unique way.
Right. There's one exception, one time where copying is actually the goal.
Right. The only personalities to be copied are the prophet, peace be upon him and his family, and his alubate, because they are the North Star. They are the perfect standard.
There's a beautiful analogy from Imam Ali about this. He compares his relationship to the prophet to a baby camel.
The colt and the camel. It's a powerful image.
Explain that visual to us, because we don't see a lot of camels walking around these days.
Think about the desert. It's a dangerous, trackless place. It's easy to get lost and die. If you are a baby camel, your survival depends 100% on staying with the mother.
She knows the way.
She knows the way.
Yeah.
So Imam Ali says, I followed the Prophet like a baby camel follows its mother, meaning wherever the mother steps, the baby steps in exactly the same footprint.
Wow.
The baby doesn't look at the scenery. It doesn't get distracted. It doesn't think it knows a shortcut. It trusts the guide implicitly and places its foot exactly in the footprint of the guide.
That is an intense level of adherence and trust.
It is. But that is the relationship with the divine guide.
Yeah.
You copy the guide so that you can become your best self.
Yeah.
You don't copy the random trends of society.
Speaking of random trends, the lecture wraps up with a classification of humanity that is a bit of a slap in the face. It's really sobering. The Kumail Hadith.
Yes. Imam Ali is talking to his close student Kumail ibn Ziyad, and he divides all people everywhere into 3 categories.
Just 3. The entire human race.
Just 3. The first is Alimi Rabbani, the divinely learned scholar. This is the one with the light, the one who has seen the room with the lights on.
The prophets, the true saints, the guides.
The second is Muta'alim, the student on the path of salvation. This is the person who knows they don't know, but they are holding on to the guide. They are the baby camel. They are actively trying to drink from the source.
This is where we hope to be, right? We are the students.
This is the goal for most of us. And then there's the third group, Hamajun Ra.
The translation is rough.
It's very rough. It translates to the rushing rabble, or the foam on the water, or, more bluntly, the trash.
Ouch. Who are they? What defines them?
Imam Ali describes them as those who follow every croaker, every loud voice. They follow every wind. Today the wind blows left, they go left. Tomorrow blows right, they go right. They have no foundation. They have no anchor, no internal compass.
They're the trend chasers. The mob.
They are spiritually dead. They are just drifting, reacting to whatever stimulus is thrown at them.
I want to connect this to the modern day. Because when I heard follows every wind, I immediately thought of one thing.
The algorithm.
Exactly. Social media, the trending topic. One day we are all collectively outraged about thing A. The next day we've completely forgotten thing A, and we are screaming about thing B. We are constantly being swayed.
We're being engineered to be Hamajun Ra. The entire system is designed to keep us in that state of rushing rabble. It profits from it.
That is a terrifying thought, that the entire information ecosystem we live in is a lowliness machine designed to strip us of our karamat.
It is. And that is why the concept of ilm and finding a true guide is so revolutionary today. It is the only way to anchor yourself against that constant howling wind.
The lecture ends with a heavy statement about life and death, a very famous saying.
People are asleep. When they die, they wake up.
Meaning this life we're living is the dream.
Yes. We think we are awake right now. We're talking, we're thinking. But Dr. Riza argues that compared to the hyper-reality of the next world, this is sleepwalking. This is a dream.
So death is the alarm clock.
Death is the alarm clock. And the goal of ilm, the whole point of reading the universe, is to force your eyes open before that alarm goes off.
To wake up now, to stop being a walking dead body, a moving corpse that just consumes and sleeps, and to become truly alive here and now.
That is the ultimate transformation. That is the destination of the reader.
So let's bring it all home. We covered a massive amount of ground today.
We really did. We started with the mission to read the universe, not just books, and achieve true dignity, karamat.
We learned that karamat is not just being polite. It's the ability to rise above petty jealousy and reaction, exemplified by the incredible patience of the imams.
We redefine knowledge. It's not just data in the brain that fades with age. It's light in the soul, a gift that's earned through servitude and acting on the truth you know.
We looked at the tool, the cosmic pen of creation, and reframed science as the sacred act of reading God's handwriting in the book of nature.
And finally, we looked at the choice that's in front of every single one of us. To be the dedicated student, anchored to the truth, or to be the rabble, the foam, just blowing in the wind.
I want to leave our listeners with that final thought, that provocation. In a world that is actively trying to make you part of the rabble, that wants you to be reactive, jealous, and flighty-seeking true ilm, is the ultimate act of rebellion.
It really is. Standing still and being dignified when the wind is blowing is a revolutionary act.
Once again, we want to express our deepest gratitude to Dr. Haider. His insights are the backbone of this entire deep dive.
And thank you to you, the listener, for sticking with us through the metaphysics. I know is a lot.
Next week, we go even deeper, but until then, a call to action. Wake up.
See you next time.
Signing off.